Welcome back, and thank you for tuning in to HK Cheating Stories. We appreciate each and every one of you joining us. Where in the world are you watching from? Let us know in the comments. Now, let's get the story started. I thought I had my future figured out. For years with the woman I loved, a house we built together, a wedding on the horizon. Life was steady, predictable, until one night, she looked me in the eyes and said she needed a break to see if there was still something between her and her ex. I sat there, stunned, spatula still in my hand, as she casually unraveled everything we had built. She thought I'd wait, that I'd sit around, hoping she'd come back once she had her answer. She had no idea, because the moment she walked out that door, I decided I wasn't waiting for anyone. For 4 years, Olivia and I built a life together. We met at a mutual friend's birthday party, and from the moment we locked eyes, I knew she was different. Confident, sharp-witted, and with a laugh that could light up a room. We clicked instantly. Conversations flowed effortlessly, and before I knew it, we were inseparable. A year in, we moved in together. It felt natural, like the universe was aligning perfectly. Our schedules meshed well. She worked as a freelance graphic designer, and I was a project manager at a tech firm. We weren't rolling in luxury, but we were happy. Sunday mornings meant lazy breakfasts. Weeknights were spent curled up on the couch watching whatever new series we got hooked on. Life wasn't perfect, but it was good. Then came the proposal. Nothing extravagant, just us, a quiet dinner at home, a ring hidden in her favorite dessert. The moment I pulled it out, her eyes widened with tears. She said yes before I even finished asking. She hugged me so tightly, I could barely breathe. That night, we talked about our future, dreaming of a fall wedding, a small ceremony by the lake, and a life filled with love and adventure. I remember thinking, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I had no idea what was coming. At first, Olivia was all in. She flooded my phone with Pinterest boards, wedding dresses, floral arrangements, table settings. Every night, she'd excitedly ask my opinion on the smallest details. Tulips or roses for the centerpieces? Should we do a live band or a DJ? But then, something shifted. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, her enthusiasm began to fade. It started small. She stopped bringing up wedding details. The Pinterest boards went untouched. The late-night planning sessions disappeared. I brushed it off at first. Planning a wedding was overwhelming, right? Maybe she was just stressed. But the signs kept piling up. One night, I casually asked, "Have you picked your bridesmaids yet?" She barely looked up from her phone. "Not yet. I'm still thinking about it." Days turned into weeks, and the same pattern repeated. The dress? Haven't decided. The music? Still figuring it out. The cake? We have time. Each time, her answers were dismissive, like the wedding was some distant obligation she wasn't particularly excited about anymore. I told myself I was overthinking it, that I was making a big deal out of nothing. But deep down, an unease had started to settle in my gut, an unshakable feeling that something was off. I just didn't know what. Not yet. Then came the night that shattered my illusion. We were out with friends at a small get-together. Someone suggested we play one of those TikTok-style games, where you have to answer personal questions while keeping a straight face. It started off harmless. What's your biggest fear? If you could have dinner with one celebrity, who would it be? Then someone asked, if you could relive one past relationship, which one would it be? I didn't even flinch. I had no interest in revisiting the past. I figured Olivia would say the same. Instead, without hesitation, she laughed and said, "Probably Jake." The room fell silent. Jake, her ex from college, the guy who cheated on her. I felt like someone had punched me in the gut. Olivia must have sensed the tension because she quickly tried to backtrack, forcing an awkward laugh. I mean, not that I want to. It was just a big part of my past, you know. I forced a smile, acting like it was no big deal. I didn't want to make a scene in front of our friends. But inside, something snapped. That night, as soon as we got home, I asked her point blank, "Why would you choose Jake? After everything he did to you?" She shrugged, not meeting my eyes. "It was a stupid game, Ethan. Don't take it so seriously." I wanted to believe her, wanted to brush it off as nothing. But I couldn't, because for the first time in 4 years, I felt like I didn't know the woman I was about to marry. And the worst part? This was just the beginning. That night, I barely slept. I kept replaying Olivia's words over and over in my head. Probably Jake. The way she said it, so casually, like it wasn't a big deal. Like it didn't matter that she had chosen her ex, the guy who broke her heart, over the man she was about to marry. I wanted to believe it was just an innocent slip, a thoughtless response in a dumb game. But something about it didn't sit right. And the more I paid attention, the clearer it became. Olivia had been acting different for months. It started with small things. The little moments of closeness that had once been second nature to us, gone. She used to greet me at the door after work with a smile, maybe a kiss, sometimes a joke about my terrible parking job. Now, I was lucky if she even looked up from her phone when I walked in. We used to spend our evenings together, watching movies, cooking dinner, talking about our days. But now, she always seemed to have something else to do. I'm just tired, Ethan. Work's been crazy lately. I promised my mom I'd visit this weekend. At first, I bought into the excuses. She was busy, stressed, overwhelmed, weren't we all? But soon, it became obvious. It wasn't just work. It wasn't just stress. It was me. I was no longer her priority. And then, there was the phone. I'd never been the kind of guy to snoop. Never had a reason to. But suddenly, Olivia was glued to her screen more than ever. I'd catch her smiling at her messages, biting her lip like she was suppressing a laugh. But the moment I walked into the room, her demeanor changed. She'd tilt the screen away, lock it instantly, or suddenly need to go do something else. It was a pattern, a new one that set off every alarm bell in my head. Still, I told myself not to overthink it. Don't be paranoid. Until the night that changed everything. It was a Friday. I got home from work early, excited to spend the evening with Olivia. We hadn't had a real night together in weeks. I thought maybe we could order takeout, curl up on the couch, watch something mindless. But when I walked through the door, something was off. She was sitting on the couch, laptop open in front of her, but she wasn't working. Her eyes were locked on the screen, completely unfocused, like she was waiting for something. "Hey, I'm home," I said, trying to keep my tone light. She barely reacted, just flicked her gaze toward me and muttered, "You're early." Not "Hey, babe," or "How was your day?" Just, "You're early." My stomach nodded. I shrugged it off and went to the kitchen, trying to act normal. But the silence in the house was suffocating. Usually, Olivia would fill the space, rambling about work, a random story from her day, even just complaining about how our neighbor's dog wouldn't stop barking. But tonight, nothing. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. "Is everything okay?" I asked. She hesitated. Then, with a deep breath, she shut her laptop and turned to face me. "There's something I need to talk to you about." The way she said it, the tension in her voice, the way she refused to meet my eyes. I knew whatever was coming wasn't good. I swallowed hard and sat across from her. "All right, what's going on?" She hesitated, biting her lip, like she was searching for the right words. Then, finally, she said it. "I've been thinking about us, and about Jake." I almost laughed. "Jake? Are you serious? What about him?" She sighed, looking anywhere but at me. I think I need some time to figure things out. I want to take a break." My blood ran cold. A break? Yeah, just some space, to see if there's still something there with him. It took me a second to process what she was actually saying. She wanted a break from me, her fiancé, to explore her ex. I stared at her, waiting for the punchline. But there wasn't one. "So let me get this straight," I said slowly, voice dangerously calm. "You want to take a break? To go date your ex?" "It's not like that," she said quickly, as if that would make this any better. I need to be sure I'm making the right choice with you. And if it doesn't work out, I swear, I'll come back." She actually said that, like I was just supposed to wait while she ran back to the guy who cheated on her. Like I was some backup plan. Something inside me snapped. For the first time in my life, I felt completely, utterly detached. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I didn't demand explanations. I just stared at her. I watched her fidget under my gaze, watched her wait for me to argue, to fight for her. But I didn't. Instead, I did something she never expected. I agreed. "You know what? Sure." She blinked, startled. "Wait, what?" "Take your break, Olivia. Do what you need to do." Her lips parted like she wanted to say something, but I didn't give her the chance. I stood up, grabbed a glass of water, and took a sip like we had just discussed the weather. I could see the confusion flicker across her face. She wanted me to freak out. She wanted me to beg. But I wasn't going to give her that satisfaction. Because in that moment, I knew something she didn't. This break wasn't going to go the way she thought. Not for her. And definitely not for me. I watched Olivia disappear into the bedroom, probably thinking she had just left me sitting there, shocked, heartbroken, waiting for her to come to her senses. She had no idea. I wasn't going to sit around, hoping she'd realize I was the right choice. No, I was done being an option. A few minutes later, I heard the front door close. She was gone, and that's when I got to work. The first call I made was to my best friend, Noah. He was the kind of guy who never sugarcoated things, and I needed that right now. When I told him everything, he let out a low whistle. Dude, she's gonna come crawling back the second she realizes this Jake thing is a joke. I leaned back in my chair, gripping my phone tightly. Yeah, well, by the time that happens, I won't be here. Noah was quiet for a second, then I heard him chuckle. All right then, let's make sure you do this right. That night, over pizza and a couple of beers, we mapped it all out. Not out of revenge. This wasn't about getting even. This was about taking back control of my life. Step 1. Sell the house. Olivia had always loved talking about our home. How she had picked out the curtains, the throw pillows, the little decorations scattered around. But the reality? I paid the mortgage. The house was in my name. She had no legal claim to it. And I wasn't about to sit in that place, haunted by the memory of her indecision. First thing Monday morning, I called a realtor. The market was hot, and we listed it immediately. Within days, I already had interested buyers. Olivia had no clue. She probably thought I was just waiting for her to figure things out. Step 2. Erase her presence from my life. The first thing to go? Those ridiculous love signs she insisted on putting up. Gone. The fluffy decorative pillows? Donated. Every single item she had left behind, packed up neatly into boxes. But instead of just dropping them off at her mom's house, I got a little creative. I hired a moving company. Had everything delivered in one big shipment with a short note attached. Here's your stuff. Good luck with Jake. Some might call it petty. I call it efficient. Step 3. Take the narrative back. People started asking questions. Friends, mutual acquaintances. Instead of playing the heartbroken fiancé, I kept it simple. Olivia wanted to explore things with her ex before getting married. I decided I deserved better than being someone's backup plan. I let that statement do all the work. No anger, no drama, just the truth. And you'd be amazed how quickly people's perspectives shift when you don't try to control the story. It didn't take long for Olivia to notice that something was off. At first, she sent me casual texts. Hope you're doing okay. Then, a few days later, hey, just checking in. How have you been? I didn't respond. The messages started coming more frequently, the tone shifting from friendly to concerned. She must have talked to someone, because the next one read, why is the house listed? Ethan, what are you doing? I smirked as I read it. There it was. The moment she realized I wasn't waiting. Then came the phone call. I let it ring. Once, twice, 3 times. Then, I answered. Why are you selling the house? Her voice was tight, almost panicked. Because I don't need it anymore. She let out a breath like I had just punched her in the stomach. You're really doing this? I leaned against the counter, keeping my voice steady. Yeah, Olivia. I am. There was a long silence on the other end. I could almost hear the gears turning in her head. This isn't what I meant, she finally whispered. I just needed time to think. I cut her off. And I gave it to you. Now, I'm making my own decisions. You're being so quick about this, she said, and I could hear the frustration creeping into her voice. I didn't say we were over. But we are. Silence. Then, her voice cracked. But what if I realize you're the one I want? I exhaled slowly, feeling none of the pain I thought I would in this moment. Instead, I felt something else. Freedom. Then you'll have learned a valuable lesson about not taking people for granted. And with that, I hung up. I stared at the phone for a moment, waiting for the weight of it all to hit me. The heartbreak, the regret, the what-ifs. But none of it came. Instead, I felt lighter than I had in months. Maybe even years. Noah came over again that night, helping me pack up the last of my things. He watched me carefully, like he was waiting for me to break down. But I didn't. You seem different, he finally said. Like, focused. I gave him a small smile. I am. Because for the first time in a long time, I wasn't waiting for someone to choose me. I was choosing myself. The moment I ended the call, I knew she wasn't done. Olivia never handled losing control well, and for the first time in our entire relationship, she was no longer the one holding the cards. At first, there was silence. No texts, no calls. It was a calculated move. She wanted me to reach out first. She thought I'd start second-guessing myself. wondering if I had been too impulsive, if maybe I should have given her the time she asked for. She had no idea that I was already miles ahead of her. A few days later, the texts started. At first, they were casual, lighthearted. Hey, just checking in. Hope you're doing okay. I ignored it. The next day, another one. I know things are weird right now, but I just wanted to see how you've been. Still, nothing from me. Then, a shift. Ethan, why aren't you answering? And then, the real kicker. Are you seriously selling the house? That's when I knew. She wasn't worried about me. She was worried about losing her safety net. I let her text sit unread for hours before finally responding with just 2 words. Yes. Sold. The phone rang almost immediately. I let it ring out. Then she called again. This time I picked up. Her voice was sharp, laced with disbelief. Ethan, what the hell? You're selling our house. I couldn't help but smirk. She loved calling it our house when it suited her. But the second she needed space, it was just a place she could walk away from. It's not our house, Olivia. It's mine. And I don't need it anymore. She sucked in a sharp breath. I could hear her struggling to find the right words, the right angle to take. I never said we were over, she said, her voice softer now. I just needed time to think. I let out a dry laugh. And what was I supposed to do while you were thinking? Sit around and wait for you to decide if I was good enough? I didn't mean it like that, she whispered. Then how did you mean it? Silence. Ethan, please. I didn't think you'd make such a big decision so fast. That's when it hit me. She hadn't realized I had already made my decision the moment she asked for a break. She thought she had time, that I'd wait, hoping, wishing she'd pick me. She had completely underestimated me. I told you, Olivia. You wanted space. I gave it to you. Now I'm making my own choices. She let out a shaky breath. You're being so quick about this. I shook my head, my voice steady. No, you were just too slow to realize what you had. For the first time, she was speechless. And then, when I thought she was about to hang up, her voice cracked. But what if I realize you're the one I want? I closed my eyes for a moment, exhaling slowly. A few weeks ago, that question would have shattered me. It would have sent me spiraling, hoping she'd finally come to her senses. But now, I felt nothing but clarity. Then you'll have learned a valuable lesson about not taking people for granted. And with that, I ended the call. I expected a wave of emotion to hit me. Regret, sadness, anything. But there was nothing. No pain, no doubt. Just certainty. Because for the first time, I realized I wasn't the one losing something. She was. The house was already under contract. My job transfer to the West Coast was happening. Everything that once tied me to this version of my life was fading, and I was stepping into something new. That night, Noah came over, helping me pack up the last of my things. He watched me carefully, waiting for the moment I'd crack. But I didn't. He leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. You're handling this way better than I expected. I gave him a small smile. That's because I'm not handling a loss. His brow furrowed. Then what are you handling? I looked around the house one last time, taking in the empty walls, the packed boxes, the space that used to be ours. Now just another place I was leaving behind. The call ended, but I knew Olivia wasn't done. She wasn't the type to accept losing control. She had always been the one steering the ship in our relationship, until now. And nothing terrified her more than the realization that, this time, she wasn't the one making the decisions. I expected the next stage to come soon. Denial, bargaining, panic. And I was right. The next morning, I woke up to another text from her. Can we just talk? Please. In person. I stared at it for a moment, then locked my phone. Not interested. An hour later, another one. I didn't mean for things to go like this. I just needed time to think. Can we please meet? I knew exactly what she was trying to do. She wanted to see if she could still reel me back in. She wasn't ready to commit to me, but she wasn't ready to lose me either. But I wasn't playing that game anymore. I went about my day, running errands, finalizing the sale paperwork for the house. The realtor had already lined up a buyer, and in a few weeks, the deal would be closed. Everything was moving fast, and I wanted it that way. The sooner I was out, the better. That night, I met up with Noah again. As soon as I sat down across from him at the bar, he smirked. She texted, didn't she? I exhaled through my nose. Multiple times. And let me guess. Now she wants to talk. I nodded. She doesn't like that I'm making moves without her. Noah leaned back in his chair, shaking his head. Dude, she really thought you'd wait for her while she test drove her ex? Yep. And now that she realizes you're actually moving on, she suddenly wants to talk? I smirked. Bingo. He let out a low whistle. Man, I wish I could see the look on her face when she finds out you're leaving the state. That was the next step. My job application for the West Coast position had been accepted. The transfer was happening. Soon, I'd be packing up and starting fresh in a new city, far away from all of this. And Olivia? She had no idea. A few days later, the real panic set in. She showed up at the house. I had just finished loading some boxes into my car when I heard her voice behind me. Ethan. I turned around slowly, taking her in. She looked different, more put together than I expected, like she had practiced this moment in her head, carefully deciding how to present herself. You've been ignoring my messages, she said, folding her arms. I shrugged. I didn't see a reason to respond. Her jaw tightened. We need to talk. No, we don't. She blinked, clearly thrown off. She had expected resistance, an argument, something she could work with. But all she got was indifference. She took a step closer. Ethan, this isn't how I wanted things to go. I just needed time to be sure. I cut her off. And now you are? Now that you see I'm not sitting around waiting. She flinched, and for a second, I almost felt bad. Almost. I was scared, she admitted, her voice softer now. I didn't want to make the wrong decision. I laughed, shaking my head. And yet, you had no problem risking our entire relationship just to see if Jake was worth it. She bit her lip, looking down. I thought you'd understand. Understand. My voice was sharp now. You expected me to sit here, alone, while you ran back to your ex. And if it didn't work out, what? I was supposed to take you back with open arms. She swallowed hard. I didn't mean for it to be like that. But that's exactly what it was, Olivia. For the first time, I saw real fear in her eyes. Not just sadness, fear. Because she knew. She knew this wasn't going to end the way she had planned. She reached out, her fingers brushing against my arm. Ethan, I made a mistake. I stepped back. Yeah, you did. Her voice wavered. We can fix this. I'll go to counseling. I'll prove to you that I can be trusted again. I sighed. Olivia, this isn't about trust anymore. She furrowed her brow. Then what is it about? It's about the fact that I deserve someone who doesn't need to explore their options before choosing me. Silence stretched between us. For the first time, she had no argument. No excuse. She had lost. Finally, she whispered, so that's it. I gave her a small, almost pitying smile. That's it. She nodded slowly, then turned and walked back to her car. She didn't look back. As I watched her drive away, I expected to feel something. Regret. Sadness. The weight of 4 years crashing down on me. But I didn't. All I felt was free. Because for the first time in a long time, I wasn't the one being left behind. I was the one walking away. I watched Olivia's car disappear down the street, half expecting her to turn around, to come running back with some last-ditch effort to salvage this. But she didn't. And neither did I. That conversation had been the final nail in the coffin. There was nothing left to say, nothing left to fix. She had made her choice, and now she had to live with it. I exhaled slowly, feeling the weight lift off my chest. It was over. But for Olivia, it was just beginning. The next week was eerily quiet. No texts, no calls, no sudden visits. But I knew better. She wasn't giving up. She was regrouping, trying to figure out a new approach, a new angle to convince me that this was all just a misunderstanding. Then, the cracks started to show. First, I started hearing things from mutual friends. Conversations that had nothing to do with me, but everything to do with her. Apparently, things with Jake weren't going as planned. The fantasy she had built up in her head, the one where she ran back to her college ex and rekindled some lost romance, was crumbling fast. Jake, from what I heard, was still the same unreliable, cheating bastard he had always been. The same guy who had broken her heart years ago? Yeah, turns out, he hadn't changed. It didn't take long before people started noticing the shift. At first, Olivia was posting her usual vague, self-discovery nonsense on social media. Quotes about finding yourself and taking the time you need to grow. But then, the tone changed. Suddenly, it was all about regret. Posts about losing something you didn't realize you needed and how people don't appreciate love until it's gone. I didn't react. I didn't comment. I didn't even acknowledge it. Because it wasn't for me. It was for her. She wanted me to see it. She wanted me to reach out. But I had already moved on. Meanwhile, my life was accelerating. The house was officially under contract. and I had accepted the job transfer to the West Coast. In less than a month, I'd be gone, starting fresh in a new city, with new opportunities and no baggage holding me back. And the best part? Olivia didn't know. Not yet, but she was about to find out. A few days later, I got the text I had been waiting for. "Can we please talk?" One last time. I stared at the message for a few seconds, then replied with a simple, "Sure. Tomorrow at noon. The coffee shop on 5th. I picked the place deliberately, neutral ground, somewhere public. A place where she couldn't pull any dramatic stunts. When I walked in the next day, she was already there, waiting. She looked different, tired. Her usual confidence had been replaced with something else, something almost desperate. I sat down across from her, keeping my expression neutral. "So, you wanted to talk." She swallowed hard, fidgeting with the cup in her hands. "Ethan, I messed up." I didn't respond, just watched her. She exhaled sharply, like she was trying to keep herself together. "I thought I needed to see what was out there. I thought I needed clarity. But I was wrong. I already had everything I needed with you." I tilted my head slightly. "And you realized that when?" She hesitated. "When Jake turned out to be the same person he always was." She flinched but nodded. "I was stupid. I don't know why I thought it would be different." "Because you thought the grass was greener," I said, leaning back. "Turns out, it was just dead weeds." Her eyes filled with tears. "Please, Ethan. I want to fix this. I'll do whatever it takes." I sighed, rubbing my temples. "Olivia, this isn't about Jake anymore. This is about the fact that you treated me like an option, like a backup plan. And now that your what if didn't work out, you suddenly want me back." She shook her head quickly. "No, it's not like that." "Yes, Olivia, it is. And I'm not interested." She inhaled sharply, like I had just knocked the wind out of her. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then, she whispered, "So that's it? You're just done with me?" I met her gaze, completely calm. "I was done the second you asked for a break." She looked down, nodding slowly. Her hands clenched around the coffee cup like it was the only thing keeping her grounded. I stood up. "Take care of yourself, Olivia." She didn't look up as I walked away. And just like that, the last thread connecting us was cut. Later that night, I got a call from Noah. "Dude, you're not going to believe this." "What?" He let out a low laugh. "Olivia's freaking out. She just found out you're moving." I smirked. "Let me guess, she didn't take it well." Understatement of the year. "She was not expecting you to actually start over without her." I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. "That's the thing, man. She never thought I'd walk away." Well, she knows now. Yeah, she did. And it was too late. After my final conversation with Olivia, I thought that would be the end of it. That she would accept what she had done, take her loss, and move on. I was wrong. Because when people like Olivia lose control, they don't just let go. They grasp at whatever scraps they can find, desperately trying to salvage the illusion they built for themselves. And as I packed up my life, getting ready to leave for the West Coast, Olivia was unraveling. It started with the calls. At first, they were spaced out. Every few days, she'd try again, leaving messages that started off calm. "Ethan, I know you're upset, but can we please just talk?" Then, when I didn't respond, the tone shifted. "You're being so cold. We were together for 4 years. Do I really mean nothing to you?" Then came the panic. "You can't just erase me like this. We had a life together. You don't just walk away from something like that." Each time, I let the calls go to voicemail. Each time, I felt more certain that I was making the right decision. She wasn't sorry for what she did. She was just sorry it hadn't worked out the way she thought it would. Then came the social media meltdown. I hadn't checked her pages in weeks, but Noah kept me updated. "Bro, she's posting all these sad quotes about realizing too late and how people give up on love too easily." I rolled my eyes. "Classic. But wait, it gets better," Noah added. "She's also posting all these selfies, looking extra happy, like she's thriving." I shook my head. Of course she is. She wanted to control the narrative. She wanted the world to believe she was the one who walked away, that she was choosing this, rather than facing the reality that I had cut her out completely. But people weren't buying it. Mutual friends started reaching out to me, asking what had really happened. And I told them the truth. Olivia wanted to see if there was still something with her ex before committing to me. So I let her go. And now, I'm moving on. No drama. No bitterness. Just facts. And that was all it took. The sympathy she expected, the support, the people rallying around her, telling her she did the right thing. It never came, because the truth had a way of spreading. And then, the fallout hit her career. Olivia worked as a freelance graphic designer. Most of her clients came from referrals, word of mouth. And when word got out about how she had handled our relationship, about how she treated commitment like an option, people started backing away. One of our mutual friends, Sarah, even reached out to me. Hey, I know this is random, but Olivia's been saying you two are just taking space and we'll work things out. That's not true, is it? I sighed. No, it's not. She wanted to test her options, so I gave her all the space she needed. And now I'm leaving. There was a long pause. Then, Sarah muttered, yeah, that's kind of what I figured. I frowned. What do you mean? She's been acting like nothing's wrong. But a lot of us see through it. And, well, some of my colleagues were considering hiring her for a big design project. But after hearing all this, they decided to go with someone else. I didn't say anything. Because what was there to say? Actions have consequences. She had gambled on me waiting for her. And now she was losing more than just a relationship. She was losing everything. And then, just when I thought it couldn't get any worse for her, Jake happened. Because, of course, Jake wasn't sticking around. It didn't take long for him to show his true colors, flirting with other women, making excuses, pulling the same old tricks he always had. And the best part? He dumped her. No big speech. No dramatic goodbye. Just a casual, half-hearted, I don't think this is working out. After all that, after blowing up our engagement, after throwing away 4 years, after chasing after the what if she couldn't let go of, he walked away without a second thought. And now? Now, she had nothing. The last time I heard from her was through email. I know you're trying to erase me from your life, but you can't just delete our memories. Those 4 years meant something. I stared at the screen for a long moment, then typed out my reply. You're right. Those years taught me exactly what I don't want in a partner. Thanks for the lesson. And I hit send. No hesitation. No second thoughts. Because by then, I had already moved on. The house was sold. The job transfer was finalized. The movers were scheduled. In a few days, I'd be on a plane to a new city, a new life. And Olivia? She was just another mistake I was leaving behind. I stepped onto the plane, took my seat, and exhaled. This was it. Everything I had spent the last few months working toward, moving on, letting go, starting over, was finally happening. San Francisco. New job. New city. A fresh start. No Olivia. No past weighing me down. Just me and the life I was building for myself. As the plane took off, I glanced out the window, watching my old life shrink beneath the clouds. And for the first time in a long time, I felt something I hadn't in months. Peace. The transition was smoother than I expected. The apartment I rented had a stunning view of the bay, the kind of place I never would have imagined for myself just a few months ago. My new office was fast-paced, filled with ambitious people who actually wanted to build something, to move forward. And me? I fit right in. No more dragging dead weight. No more waiting for someone to choose me. I had chosen myself. One night, as I was unpacking, I got a text from Noah. Dude, you are not gonna believe what just happened. I smirked. What now? Olivia. She showed up at your old house today. I raised an eyebrow. You're kidding. Nope. She pulled into the driveway like she was about to march up to your front door. But guess what? What? She saw the new owners moving in. I leaned back, letting out a low chuckle. And, dude, she just sat there in her car, staring, like she was trying to process the fact that you were actually gone. I shook my head. She really thought I was bluffing. Yep. And when she realized you weren't, she drove off. I let out a slow breath, feeling the weight of what he was saying settle over me. She had been so convinced that I'd still be there, that even after everything, I'd be waiting, ready to take her back when she came running. She had never truly believed I would leave. Until now. A few weeks later, I got another text, this time from her sister. Hey, I know we haven't talked much, but I just wanted to say I'm sorry for everything Olivia put you through. She really thought you'd wait for her. When she found out you left, it broke her completely. I stared at the message for a moment, then typed back. I hope she figures herself out. But that's not my problem anymore. And that was the truth. I didn't hate Olivia. I wasn't even angry at her anymore. She had made her choices. And I had made mine. As the weeks went by, my new life started falling into place. I joined a local rock climbing club, something I'd always wanted to do but never had time for. I started learning Spanish. I even adopted a dog from a local shelter. A big, goofy mutt named Zeus who immediately became my best friend. And the best part? For the first time in a long time, I was excited about the future. Not just existing, not just going through the motions, actually living. One night, as I was getting ready for bed, I checked my email and saw a name I hadn't expected. Olivia. At first, I considered deleting it without even reading. But curiosity won. I know you're trying to erase me from your life, but you can't just delete our memories. Those 4 years meant something. I stared at the words, waiting for some kind of emotion to hit me. Regret, nostalgia, anything. But there was nothing. Just a quiet understanding that this chapter of my life was closed. I typed out my response. You're right. Those years taught me exactly what I don't want in a partner. Thanks for the lesson. And with that, I hit send. No hesitation. No second thoughts. Because this wasn't about Olivia anymore. It was about me. And for the first time in my life, I was exactly where I was supposed to be. As I lay in bed that night, Zeus snoring at my feet, I thought about everything that had led me here. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the moments where I thought my world was falling apart. And I realized something. It hadn't been falling apart. It had been falling into place. Because sometimes, the worst thing that happens to you turns out to be the best thing that ever could have. And sometimes, the best revenge isn't getting even. It's getting better. Looking back, I realize now that everything happened exactly the way it was supposed to. I used to think love was about loyalty, about standing by someone even when things got tough. But the truth is, love should never feel like a test. It should never leave you questioning your worth while someone else weighs their options. Olivia taught me that people who truly love you don't put you on hold. They don't ask for space to explore someone else while keeping you as a backup. They choose you, fully, without hesitation. And if someone ever makes you feel like an option, walk away. Don't wait around hoping they'll realize your value. Because if they didn't see it in the first place, they never truly deserved you. Life is too short to spend it waiting for people to make up their minds. Whether it's love, friendships, or any relationship, mutual respect and commitment should be the foundation. I wasted years thinking I had everything I needed, but in reality, I was settling. It wasn't until I let go of the wrong person that I made space for something better. And that's the lesson. Never fear walking away from something that no longer serves you. Because sometimes, the best thing you can do is move forward.